What's going on, everybody? This is the Blockchain Backer, bringing you the latest cryptocurrency news and analysis. Today, we have a green day over here in the cryptocurrency market and over there in the stock market. Several different things going on. We'll take a peek here as we get this week kicked off here. Bitcoin once again is knocking on 20,000's door. We could see over the course of the last 2 weeks, every single time we've gotten right here intraday, by the time the day was over, we'd already shuffled our way back down. So is this the time we actually get out of this range? Like I've mentioned, I've already completed my accumulation of Bitcoin down there in the 18,000s and lower 19,000s. But expectations still being that we could be here for a little while. So until proven otherwise, it's kind of the same thing to keep talking about with Bitcoin that, well, just kind of waddling our way along. So until we get an actual break from this area, then maybe we can have something to talk about. But till then, we could see what's happened the last several days. Each time we've gotten next to 20,000, not too much happened right after that. One of the things that still has me intrigued over here is the XRP price chart, which still just won't leave its range. So we got up into this range 2 weeks ago. Over the last week, fell. Then we had the SEC and Ripple news come out where the judge denied the SEC's motion, at least as the SEC tried to overstep Judge Netburn and go to Judge Torres. Even Judge Torres denied the SEC, ordering them to turn over the emails. Since then, we've just been waddling back. We came back and closed the price action out from that whole move now, but still just ranging. The longer this thing continues to play out, the more it makes me just be like, gosh, have we already entered the accumulation phase at this point? The most intriguing backtest area for XRP is down there near about 38 to 39 cents, but still just refuses to go down there and do it. So for XRP, for me, still just waiting on it to see structure play out, whether or not we're going to get ourselves a nice grind style to the upside, or we can go ahead and backtest this thing right now. Or as this structure has followed so well, like structures we've seen before, we just start working our way up higher, get back to those retracement levels, and then it's a long wait before it eventually comes some other time. Till then, just waiting on one way or the other. And definitely by sitting in the dead middle of this thing, it's not something where I can sit here and say I have conviction on one way or the other. Personal preference would be to get it over with now, so that way we can just march up and never have to come back. But I'm sure a lot of people would love to see the price just fire right now. But of course, I will be worrying that we have to come back at some point. Either way, still a waiting game on there. But there are a lot of bullish things kind of emerging in markets. Yesterday, the Dow Jones went up 765 points. As of right now, I'm recording in pre-market, so we're up another 361 points here in pre-market. As we've been talking about with bubble pop structures for Dow Jones and how these have played out before, this is an area of interest for a bounce region, for an ABC correction to emerge in here. We can see where this bounce we've seen so far is, and hard to say if this is still the bounce today. We'll see if we can get some more follow through today and tomorrow. But you can notice as we have dipped below our peak that was set back there in February of 2020, you notice before we end up breaking out to the upside, you can see we had an A, B, C correction in here, and then we break out. Notice that we've come down to bounce right here pretty much at about the height of B. Now, if you also notice on the structure we've been looking at over here for a bubble pop on where this bounce comes in right in here, what do you have? You have your A, B, C correction in here. Where does the bounce come from? It comes from right here on top of B. So we've really kind of had the same kind of bouncing region happening in here underneath that prior top. So definitely seems optimistic for a bounce to emerge here in the Dow Jones. Another thing to notice is what we were talking about last week with the Fibonacci's on top of the DXY or US dollar currency index that, hey, look, we had all these reactionary levels on the way up. We were watching it last week. Sure enough, boom, we've gotten hit pretty hard back there. And in just the last several days, we've seen it fall a total of over 4 points here on the DXY. Still, again, too early to say anything, but we did recognize all of the different reactions on the Fibonacci retracements. Ever since that moment, boom, it has really been heading down. So nice to see that. And at the same time, we've seen a fall in rates. Now, there's been a lot of news out there at the exact same time. Of course, if you didn't hear about it yesterday, the United Nations is calling on all central bankers to stop with the interest rate hikes. Doesn't mean any of them are going to do it, but that's cool for them to show up and do that right there, as we showed. There was also a lot of rumors out there throughout the weekend. And I've been kind of noticing this trend lately every weekend that we're getting a lot of rumors happening. And if you remember a couple weeks ago, there was even like The Simpsons, right? The end of the world was going to come because of The Simpsons, predicting like 9/24 or something like that, September 24th. Then there became the whole like the president is under house arrest in China. And then it became a secret emergency meeting by the Fed. But, none of these things end up being true. And when it comes to the emergency meeting for the Fed yesterday, if you didn't know, they have those meetings every single month. You saw a lot of people rightly kind of, pushing the conspiracy of an emergency meeting by the Fed, closed board meeting on October 3rd. Notice of a meeting under expedited procedures. Just like, ooh, what could that mean? But you could see here on September 20th and 21st, closed board meeting, notice of meeting under expedited procedures. Here is August 22nd, closed board meeting, notice of meeting under expedited procedures. So those are very normal. They're not emergency meetings. They're not anything different than what their regular meetings are that they have every month. But of course, everybody's looking for something right now. Either way, tides seem to be turning in regards to narratives, in regards to UN wanting to see Fed rate hikes stop. And then we also see the Central Bank of England, right? Bank of England. They've started QE up again, and things have gotten pretty excessive in the stock market. So maybe things are going to change soon. Either way, I still stick with the mindset that, the damage that has been done on the Dow Jones, at least, paves the way for a retracement to happen in here. But that could still be very good for markets. If you didn't live through the 2017, 2018 bull run in this style of a move happening in here, it can still be very exciting for markets. It just means that the larger caps don't really do very much, but that there's the potential for the smaller and mid caps to really kind of get a shot at it. So I'm excited for that moment, and this thing can last for years. Just from a time perspective, these usually last, 3 to 4 times longer than these falls down to here do. And this took a year, right? So I wouldn't be surprised if we're actually waddling around in here for a couple of years deep into 2024. So not as all scary. And while it's interesting to see as well that silver has taken a pretty decent bounce now back to its June pricing. And the same goes for gold after it had taken out its support level and then also took out its 200-week moving average. Now, the one thing about gold here really quick, we'll compare this to Bitcoin really fast, is that there's an awful lot of similarities to what gold is doing as to what Bitcoin did, right? So this is actually about 45 years of gold's price chart in here. This is Bitcoin, about 4.5, 5 years. And notice how on Bitcoin, like we were talking about in 2021, expecting there would be just kind of a little bit of a poke above the high and then a fall back through. That's really what we've seen happen over here on gold so far. And while it is bouncing right in here, I still have caution for gold. As you guys know, I've always been a silver and gold junkie for a long time. But one thing I see here on gold is that as it did take out the support level, you can even see over here on Bitcoin, it could still waddle back above that broken support level many times in here. So caution's still there for gold, but definitely a decent sized bounce coming out of it along with silver. And as you guys know, for years, we were waiting for silver to get down to $18. And sure enough, we got right down there to about $17.60. So decent move. Let's see if there's more follow through there. So what are we seeing? We're seeing moves in precious metals. We're seeing moves in the dollar. We're seeing moves in the stock market. But Blockchain backer, what about crypto, man? We haven't talked about crypto. Bitcoin is still ranging. The altcoin market is still ranging. XRP is ranging. Ethereum is ranging. So it's still just, we're waiting, right? And we haven't gotten a move yet to be like, boom, okay, here we go. And this is what we've got to work with. So while we can't draw much from looking at Bitcoin's price chart and saying, hey, we've been right here ever since really September 13th. That's 21 days that we've been bouncing around between 20,000 and 18,000. And nothing has changed except we're at the top of that boundary right now. So right now it's looking to other aspects of markets to say, are conditions changing there to give us a clue to where we could go? Well, we're at a favorable bounce zone for the Dow Jones, as that is the bounce area that we have seen on the exact charts we've been comparing it against. We've seen an initial move there on the DXY off the level we were watching last week. And we've seen precious metals take a turn, with silver as high as it was back in June. So while we still continue to wait on something like this, or at least I do, I think the first step is that we need to at least get out of our range. And unfortunately, we're still just range bound, which goes back to that talk of last week of like, why is there only team bull and team bear? Why is there not team sideways? And it's because no one wins in a team sideways scenario. The only people who win are volatility, right? Up or down. There's going to be somebody on one of those sides, but nobody's going to make money by prices just going sideways. And unfortunately, that's just the scenario we're in right now until things can make some type of convincing break one way or another. And don't get me wrong, my view is optimistic. I just know we're in a waiting game. And I've been doing these YouTube videos long enough to know when we get to a point in time where we've been waiting for a long time, we just kind of get exhausted. And I know we're in one of those phases right now when you spend 3 weeks in the same spot the whole time, but nothing has changed. If anything, we're seeing positive things emerge by seeing an optimistic bounce zone for the stock market. We're seeing metals turn. We're seeing DXY starting to pull back. Those are optimistic things. They still need more follow through to them. And regardless of however XRP acts in here on this tight range that we have, right? We're all nitpicking over how is this range going to actually behave. The positive thing is it bounced after long-term consolidation at the place we were looking for it to do it. We all want it to go in a straight line. I'm right there with you. Get us out of here. Give us the gains back. But a lot of times you just kind of got to be patient. But things are looking positive. So as the day progresses, we'll be looking over there at the stock market, or at least I will be looking over there at the stock market to see if we can get more convincing bouncing action coming out of there. As for Bitcoin, I know where we are, 21 days in this zone. We're getting back to the top of it. Caution is on there for me, but looking for a convincing breakthrough to start looking towards other phases. And DXY, something that I'm watching that'll make me start being like a little bit less cautious, because right now I am, is this peak right back over here to see if we are going to be able to break down below that peak right there on the DXY, the one that was set back there on September 7th. We can clearly see a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 ending happening in here. But what I wouldn't want this to be, at least for short-term action, would be this be like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So in order to invalidate that and give more conviction to that this was the actual peak happening right in here, which would give more conviction to that the bottom of the stock market move is actually already in, is if we can take out that level right there from September 7th. So a nice convincing break through 110.8. So get your way back down in here to below 110. It'll add more reassurance that we're not just, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 going all the way back up again. And that's what I'll be watching for today. But now that markets are open, Dow Jones up 559 points already, 560. Good start to the morning. And Bitcoin and crypto, we're just waiting on you. So, all right, guys, that's going to be it for a Tuesday morning. Still just a lot of range action happening over here in the cryptocurrency market. So there's not much to say about our current market while we still continue to range in here outside of the things that we've been talking about for practically months, with Bitcoin's bottom, 50-week crossing the 100-week, oversold RSI, 786 retracement, previous all-time high. I don't think I need to rehash all those things over and over again. Right now, we're just in a 21-day range waiting for a break to happen in there, but looking towards other markets to see if we can get some signal. And it looks like we're at a very interesting level for a bounce to come in on the stock market, an interesting reversal level for the DXY, and we are already seeing precious metals making some serious upward action. So just a waiting game, waiting for crypto to do its thing. And when it does, well, I'll cover it. But all right, guys, that's going to be it for this one. I want to thank you so much for watching. If you could, please like this video and give it a thumbs up. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe and hit the notification bell so you could be notified of when I create new content and when I go live. As always, this is not investment advice, and I am not a financial advisor. But if you ever need a pick-me-up or a little bit of reassurance, just remember that the blockchain backers got your back. Have a good one.